Okay, as you can see, I have a good collection of cards on the table with the values and suits and colors all scrambled up. So I'll go ahead and just gather these. So what we're going to do today is we're going to work with the number 6. Now, of all the numbers out there, for some reason, 6 seems to be somewhat neglected. So if you think about it, the prime numbers are special. Of course, 6 is not a prime number. The Fibonacci numbers are special. That's 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, and so forth. The perfect squares are special, 4, 9, and so forth. But somehow from that list, the number 6 is left off. So today we're going to do something with the number 6 that hopefully will change our attitude towards this number. So what we're going to do is I'm going to begin by breaking off about 1/6 of the deck, okay? And we're going to create, if we can here, I think I'm breaking off too many here, but we're going to create a 6 clock figure here, okay? So, oh, it's going off the screen. Apologize for that. There we go. I'll move those up. Okay, that's a little bit better. Okay, so we have 1 through 6. So it's half the normal 12-hour clock. And what we're going to do here is we're going to flip over the odd position packets. Those in position 1, and then this is 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then as the clock flows, we're going to do a Rosette shuffle in pairs. I'll take the 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock and I'll just kind of spin those and bring them together the best I can here. They're actually really hitting each other. I'll take the 3 and 4, bring those together the best I can. And then the 5 and 6, we'll spin those and bring those together as well the best I can. Okay, very good. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take each of these and we're going to deal them out into 2 piles of 6 cards each. Okay, so 6 is going to come into the routine again here, as you'll see. Okay, so I'll just set those there. In fact, we can go ahead and just kind of line these up, I suppose. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I believe that's 6 in each of those. Okay, I'll do the same thing here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, very good. And then the same thing here. Wait, is that, okay, that one's not. I think I have 6. I have 6. Okay, very good. Let's push these off to the side. So we have these 6 piles of 6 cards each. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is the 3 piles on the other side from me are your piles, and the ones closest to me are mine, okay, just for convenience. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to divine the color of the cards in your packet here, okay? Now, of course, you may say, well, you saw some of them as we Rosette shuffled, and I guess that's true. But nonetheless, I did not see all of them because some of them are face down. I'm going to use my cards here to divine how many red and how many black you have. Now, for you as the watcher of this video, I'm going to show you what I'm doing. Okay, so essentially, I'm teaching you how to do this performance. Now, of course, you wouldn't tell the spectator what I'm going to show you here, but this will essentially instruct you as to what I'm doing. Okay, so what I do here is, now some of these are face up, some face down, so I have to see them all. Okay, so what I'm looking for here, I'm looking at these right here, and from these, I know that the spectator has 2 red and 4 black cards. Can you see how I would conclude that? Well, as you can see here, I have 4 reds and 2 blacks. The spectator is guaranteed to have the opposite of what I have. And I'll explain why in just a moment, okay? So all I have to do is look at my hand, and however many red ones I have, they must have that number of black. However many black cards I have, they must have that number of red. And as I mentioned, I'll tell you how I know that. Okay, so let's just check to see if I'm right. Now, when you go to perform this, you don't lay these out. You're just using them to help you divine what's in here. So I claim that there's 2 red, so let's just check. So there's 1 red, there's a black, and then 4 black, right? 1 red, 1 black, another red, a black, and a black. Okay, so as I divined, they must have 2 red and 4 black, and they do. Okay, that's our first success here. Okay, now for the next little pair here, I'm going to take a look at my cards, and I'll tell you what I'm seeing and how that information tells me exactly the suits of the cards in the spectator's half. And maybe just for ease, for instruction here, I'm going to go ahead and just gather the ones of the same suits. Okay, so let me just, it'll just help you kind of follow what I'm doing a little bit better. Okay, so looking at these, I know that the spectator has 2 clubs, 1 heart, 2 spades, and 1 diamond. Okay, and as I mentioned, well, I'll tell you exactly how I know that by looking at my cards. So I said it was 2 clubs, 1 heart, 2 spades, 1 diamond. Okay, there's a spade. Let's move these up. Okay, so 2 clubs, 1 heart, 2 spades, and a diamond. You nailed it as the performer. Now let me just point out, okay, how would I know this? Well, among all of the cards here, I know that there's 3 of each suit. Whereas for the cards over here, I knew that there were 6 red, 6 black total. Here I know that there are 3 clubs, 3 hearts, 3 spades, 3 diamonds total. So if I see a club here, I know that they must have the other 2 clubs. If I see 2 hearts here, they must have the remaining heart. If I see only 1 spade here, they must have the remaining 2 spades. And if I see 2 diamonds here, which I do, they must have the remaining diamond. So that is how it is that this little packet of cards, which would of course be angled towards me, you don't show it to the spectator, though I doubt they would make any connection. You can use this to perfectly state the suit distribution of their 6 cards. Okay, now what about the last one? Why don't we move these off? I think we've kind of talked about those. What about the last 2 packets of 6 cards? Well, if I look at my cards here, okay, so I'll have to turn them so we can see them. I know that the spectator must have a 2, a 4, possibly a 7, a 9, a jack, king, and queen. So all face cards. Okay? So let's check this. So 2, 4, possibly 7. I'll explain that in a second. 9 and 3 face cards. So let's just see what they have. There's a 4. We said all the face cards would be here. There's the 9 I mentioned. Here's the remaining face card. There you go. And there's the 2 I said would be there. Now I said possibly a 7. Well, I knew they did not have a 7. Why is that? Do you remember early on when I discarded this card? I was dealing out 1, 2, 3. I was dealing out 2 hands of 6 for that final little packet of cards that had been Rosette shuffled. And I kind of pretended that I overcounted. I had 6 here, and then I put a 7th card down here. which just happened to be a 7. That's just serendipity. Don't read anything into that. And I said, okay, that was a mistake. We only want 6 here. Okay? But this 7, together with all of the other 12 cards, will constitute each and every one of the 13 card values. So each card value is found exactly once in this group. Okay? But of course, since we only had 12 cards that the 2 of us were working with, there's a 13th card that I'm not really sure is in your hand or not. So to overcome that, you just pretend to overcount by 1, check your counting, and then discard that card, toss it aside as if it's not important, when in fact it kind of is. You can leave it within view so you can reference it. But I know without a shadow of a doubt that the spectator would have these very cards that they do. And I can deduce all of that just from the information of the 6 cards I am holding. Okay, so how does all of this work? Well, really, all I need to tell you is that I had a Si Stebbins, or a similar, stacking of the deck already arranged at the beginning. So the deck was in Si Stebbins order from the very start. I even displayed the cards on the table, if you remember. I may have been a little bit sneaky with, maybe covering up, making it less obvious that it's Si Stebbins, but a typical spectator won't catch that. So if you quickly show them and then gather them up, you can go ahead and just proceed into the performance. If you'd like to give it a little Charlier shuffle, that would be fine. This does not hurt cyclic packets, which the Si Stebbins arrangement is cyclic. Okay? I'm not going to recreate the Si Stebbins right here, but I will step through the mechanics of the whole thing. Okay? So what you do is you take about 1/6. Remember, we're building our clock. So this isn't too hard to do. Just make sure you leave yourself enough at the end there for some decent amount. Okay? And then once again, make better use of your screen real estate than I am doing. Okay, so Si Stebbins. Well, you just have to realize this packet was on top of this one. Those 2 were on top of this one. Those 3 were on top of this one, and so forth. Okay? So what that means then is, since this originally started here, not cross, but this packet was on top, so I'll just put it like that so it doesn't disappear. If I flip this face up, this card and that card are immediate neighbors. They were right next to each other. Okay? The same thing here. The bottom card here is the immediate neighbor to that one. Okay? The bottom card here is the immediate neighbor to that one. Okay? So by flipping these, if we now Rosette shuffle, or riffle shuffle if you would like, these packets in pairs, this constitutes a Gilbreath shuffle. Okay? A Gilbreath shuffle. Now, what does the Gilbreath shuffle do? Well, it preserves important properties about cyclic arrangements of the cards. Okay? So in particular, what will be preserved is, if you take any one of these, the cards taken as pairs from the top will consist of exactly 1 red and 1 black all the way through until you run out of cards. Now, you may not have an even number of cards here, but that's not a problem. You just go down until there's no more pairs you can put out. So it would be true for, now remember that I didn't rearrange this, right? This isn't Si Stebbins anymore. But for any one of these piles, pairs of cards taken from the top will consist of 1 red and 1 black in some order. For any one of these piles, Cards taken in sets of 4 from the top will consist of a club, heart, spade, diamond in some order. And that will be true for each set of 4 as you go down and run out of cards, of course, eventually. And what's also true for all 3 packets, each set of 13 cards taken from the top will have an ace, a 2, a 3, a 4, all the way through a king in some order. We won't know the order, okay? And that will be true for the next 13 cards if you happen to have an additional 13 in that pile, which you probably won't here because that would require a packet of 26 cards, right? And these are all smaller than half the deck, okay? But we're guaranteed for any one of these, the top 13 cards will consist of one of each of the 13 card values, okay? Well, what is that? How does that help us? Well, let's say, for example, this packet here has the property that each pair taken from the top consists of a red and black in some order. We don't know the order. So if I deal out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, that means I have a total of 12 cards here. So among these 2 piles, there will be 6 red and 6 black. So once you know the color distribution of your little packet, you can deduce the exact colors of the cards. Okay, now once again, this is, we didn't set up Si Stebbins again, but if this happened to be the packet that we were looking at, and we had set up everything, then since there's going to be a total of 6 red and 6 black, and I'm looking at 1, 2, 3 red, that means they have 3 reds, and I happen to also have 3 black, which means they would have to have 3 black. Now, of course, in the original performance, it didn't turn out balanced like that, right? And it probably won't, most likely. But you do know that between these 2 packets of 6, the total number of red in here will be 6, and the total number of black cards in here will be 6. So just knowing that much information, you can perform this effect for that set of packets. Okay. Now, what we know to be true here is 4 cards taken at a time from the top will have a club, heart, spade, diamond in some order. So what that means then, let's go ahead and deal out 12 and then just think about it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so we have a total of 12 cards. 12 cards, okay? So if that original packet had the property that I mentioned, where each set of 4 has one of each suit, so that means among 12 cards, between these 2 packets, there must be 3 clubs, 3 hearts, 3 spades, and 3 diamonds somewhere in here. And once you take a look at your packet, you'll be able to deduce essentially what's missing. So there has to be 3 of each suit, okay? And so if we, maybe we'll put this over here. So if this happened to be what we're looking at, I guess I'm being OCD here. I'm putting it in chased order. It doesn't matter. So if this happened to be our set here, and we know that there's a total of 3 of each suit, well, I only have 1 club. That means they must have 2 clubs. I have 2 hearts, so they must have the remaining heart. I only have 1 spade, so they must have 2 spades. I have 2 diamonds, so they must have the remaining diamonds, okay? And if we had a Si Stebbins arrangement and we're to this point in the routine, you could verify that that is indeed the case, okay? And then the final one, as I mentioned, is a little bit sneaky. So you just deal out, top 12, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, hopefully I did that right. I'm not even, I was pretty sure I dealt too many. Okay, well, anyway, just make sure you deal a total of 6 to each, half. Sorry about that. Okay, so if you deal out the top 12 cards, okay, better than I did there, What you'll know is that among these 12 cards, there'll be one of each of the 12 card values, with one exception. If there's only 12 cards here, you can't have one of all 13 card values. And so if you remember, what I did was, in fact, I messed up worse than I was supposed to, but what I did in the original performance is I intentionally had like one extra here, 7. This was 6, this is 7. And then I said, wait. Oh, no, this one's not supposed to be there. And then I like tossed it aside. Now, that's not a good one to look at because we can see a 5 there. But anyway, so you toss that aside. Just as a reminder, okay, so among these 12 cards, there's going to be one of each card value, as long as we include the 4, okay, the 4 over here, okay, because that makes the full set of 13. And so I would just come over here, and once again, this is not set up, so this is not going to work because we have like duplicates and so forth. So what will happen here is all of these will be different card values, and the ones that are missing will be in here or the one that you discarded. Boy, you can ignore the 4 because you know they can't have the 4 because you pulled it aside. So whatever card values you don't have, and like I said, ignore the repeats. It's kind of bother people here, but when you go to actually do it, you're going to get distinct card values here. The remaining card values, ignoring the 4, will have to be in there. Okay, well, anyway, that's a fun Si Stebbins performance that I've never seen anyone do before. And so that's a fun one that plays off of the number 6, because you have a 6-hour clock that you work with, and then you're dealing out piles of 6 cards each and so forth, okay? And in the description below, I'll go ahead and add some links to how you set up a Si Stebbins deck, what are its properties, what can you do with it if you've never heard of it before. But if you have, I'm pretty confident you've been able to follow my explanations here and can now actually go and perform it. So thank you for watching, and take a look at other videos on the Absolute Math Magic channel.